Are you getting ready for your transfer day and not sure what to expect? Keep watching. I'm going to let you know what to expect. Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Sklar, the fertility expert, and welcome to Fertility TV. This is your YouTube channel dedicated to empowering your fertility. I've been helping couples from all over the world get pregnant for over 17 years with my virtual consultations and online fertility programs. If you're trying to get pregnant, subscribe and hit the bell so I can help you too. And there's nothing more stressful or more anxious than the day of your embryo transfer. In reality, that day is not a technically difficult day for anyone at the fertility clinic. It's just an emotionally charged day. You've got an embryo of hopefully your future baby being put back into your uterus, and there's a lot of emotions going into it. I mean, one is, this is first and foremost, this is something that you were hoping to do in your bedroom, right? But two, it's a really powerful emotional day. You know that there's an embryo being put back into your uterus. I mean, that alone, when you say that out loud, is really just powerful and emotional. So I want to walk you through the process because the day itself, as I mentioned before, is not a difficult day for the embryology lab or the doctor. Actually, for all intents and purposes, it's very much like an IUI for them. They're putting in a catheter into your uterus. They take the embryo from the embryology lab, they bring it in a syringe with a catheter, and they insert it into the uterus, and then they let it go. And all the while, on the screen right next to you, you've got an ultrasound, and you can see the whole thing happening. You even get a picture to take home, which is awesome. All right. So for all intents and purposes, that part of it is not challenging whatsoever, right? The hard part's already been done, but for you, it's still a big day. So what happens when you walk in? First thing is, they usually schedule your appointment about 30 to 60 minutes before the transfer. They want to give you time to get there. They want to make sure that everything's prepped. They want to make sure that the embryologist has thawed the embryo, that everything's turned out okay. So assuming that everything's going and running on time, which for some clinics is not the case, so don't be surprised if you're waiting for a bit. And I'll tell you actually in a minute why, if there's any delays, why that happens. When you get there, the embryologist, they usually bring you back into a room to meet with the embryologist, so you can go over that and they can let you know that the embryo has thawed well and everything's healthy and they're ready to go. Then they have you get ready for the transfer. They put you in a transfer room. Sometimes it's more like a surgery room. Sometimes it's more like an exam room. It really just depends on the clinic that you're at. They'll have you disrobe from the waist down and get ready for the transfer. And assuming that the doctor's ready, it shouldn't take long. They come on in, takes just a couple of minutes, 5, maybe 10 minutes, just by the time they get everything situated and ready. They do the transfer, and then they let you rest for about 25 to 30 minutes just to let everything settle down. After that, you're allowed to go home. In terms of how long it will take from beginning to end, you should expect to be there for about an hour and a half. Sometimes in some offices, you could be there up to 2.5 hours, just depending on circumstances, delays, and if you're going to do acupuncture. And I bring this up as a separate point because I recommend that all patients do acupuncture before and after transfer, but it's also a very common thing to have done across the world at all IVF clinics because there's enough significant research to show that it does increase success rates. So if you do incorporate acupuncture before and after, then that can add on some time. Maybe they want you to get there a little bit earlier beforehand. It might delay things a little bit on the back end, but usually not on the back end because you're already gonna rest for 30 minutes. So we're just using that time to do the acupuncture. If you're not doing acupuncture, usually the time is condensed a little bit. So there are 3 key points that I want to talk about that you should consider, ask questions about, and just know before you walk in. The first one of them is your bladder. How full should your bladder be? Some offices want your bladder to be extremely full because your bladder sits on top of your uterus, and as it's full, it presses down and opens up your uterus, okay? So instead of your uterus being like this, it does this, which is nice because this is where they're gonna put the embryo, right back here, okay? So for the places that don't want you to have a full bladder, there's really not much to talk about. Easy peasy, nothing to worry about. But for those who do, it can be uncomfortable. You're drinking a lot. They want you to have a full bladder. There's a lot of pressure. So something to expect if they do want you to drink a lot is after the transfer, They might decide to use a catheter to empty your bladder, right? So I say that so you're not surprised. Some offices will let you get up and go to the restroom. It really just depends on where you're going and how they feel about it. But when I mentioned before that there can be delays, most often the delays come in the offices that want you to have a full bladder, because either a patient has filled up too much and they can't hold it so they gotta go and then refill their bladder, or they haven't filled up enough so they've gotta drink and fill, and all that takes time. So if that's the patient ahead of you, there can be some delays. Next thing, most offices keep all of their procedure rooms very, very cold. So make sure, just bring a jacket, bring some cozy warm socks, although sometimes they give you some. Just make sure you're gonna be warm. They are gonna have you disrobe from the waist down, but regardless, we want everything else, including your feet, to be as warm as possible. And then number 3, most offices don't even think about having some nice, relaxing, soft music for you in the room. So you should plan on bringing your own. Bring your phone, get your create a nice channel on Spotify or whatever music app you use. And this is your IVF music. You've got it dialed in so you're ready to go. If you like meditation and you want some meditation around IVF, then make sure you've got that dialed in and ready to go with your headphones. And if you show up to the office and they've got good music for you and it's all great and you're happy with it, then let's be pleasantly surprised. So those are my tips for how to make your transfer day a little bit more successful. It's also what you can expect on your transfer day. Now, most of us need a little bit more support around our IVF. If you're thinking about doing IVF, if you're in the middle of IVF and you want a little bit more support, then please check out my IVF group support program. You can click on the link right here and that will take you straight to it, or the link is below in the comment section. And I'll see you in the next video. If you found this video helpful, here are 3 things you can do. First, like my video and leave a comment letting me know how long you've been trying to get pregnant and what questions you have about your fertility. 2, subscribe to Fertility TV for the best tips on how to get pregnant now. And number 3, download the Fertility Wheel to find out what's not letting you get pregnant. I want your first or your next IVF cycle to be successful. And research shows that women who are in support groups get better results during their IVF cycles. So check out my IVF support group and coaching program.